Okay, I hit something there, my friend.
Just hit the red, this is funny.
I'm not a Mac guy, so I get lost.
Yes.
Do I really cancel?
When I go out, I'll just, I'll pick it up
Okay.
tonight.
You have 4 things that you have to accomplish in this class. You have a major leadership project short description. That's going to be a very simple assignment for me. The short description is you have the title of your project, who you are, what district you're in, and 2 or 3 lines, no more than a paragraph, that tells us what the leadership project is. The reason we need that, the leadership in the Ed department for leadership takes those descriptions, they sort them by district, and then they can share with superintendents, this is what our students are working on that are employees of your district. That also is a way for your upper tier administration to learn who you are, because they are interested in folks who are taking the risk of becoming an administrator. The next one is you're going to have a year-long activity sheet. These activities are things that over the year associate with what you're talking about in class, and they're also associated with the CAPES that the state has laid out for you to do. That's your standards for becoming an administrator. Always comes up a question when your coaches go over the list today, the question always comes up, how many of these do we have to do? It's an easy answer, you have to do all of them, okay? And you have 3 quarters to get them done, so pace yourself. There also may be some activities that you come into line that's not on the list that you would like to do, and you can add them to the list. That's always a nice thing to do. I always tell secondary people, if it's not on the list, you need to, this is one thing every young administrator should look into. You have to sit down with whoever does the master schedule and ask them how they do it. I do consulting all over the state. I do it with districts for their WASC accreditation, and I do it with districts in regards to rebuilding their schools. I'm amazed at the number of active administrators who do not know how to build a master schedule. When you ask them how they do it, they say, I copy the one from the year before. That's about as accurate as what your weight was the year before. So it's something for you to get a handle on, because when you become a young rookie administrator, someone's going to tell you, hey, by the way, you get to do the master schedule this year. And in the back of your mind, what I want you to keep, he who controls the master schedule controls the school. So when a principal gives up any overview of the master schedule, they just gave up the total control of their students. Keep that in mind. It's important to do. Your year-long leadership project, we kind of mentioned that. You're going to find something that makes your socks go up and down. When I was a young administrator, when I was a teacher, I decided to become an administrator because I would sit in my classroom and go, what in the hell are they doing up in the office? Why did they make that decision? Why aren't we doing this, that, and the other? If I was the administrator, I would do this. And I'm sure every one of you in here have something when you sit in your classroom going, if I was running this school, I would do this. This is your chance to pick that project and see if you can take it through. Don't be surprised if your principal or vice principal you meet with and you say, I have to come up with a major project, they tell you to rewrite the safety plan. Okay, that's one thing we all hate to do, but it's a project one can work on. Number 4, when you go through and you do some of these activities, you're going to have some of these activities that really make an impression on you. You're going to say to yourself, I never knew this is how much work it took to do X, Y, and Z as an administrator. When I watched this administrator do this, I thought to myself, boy, I've learned a lot about this particular activity. You're going to write a reflection on that activity. And your coaches are going to talk to you about how to write that reflection and how much in depth it has to be. I will give you one hint. If you go to a school board meeting, which we all encourage you to do, and your reflection is, I went to the school board meeting and here's the agenda and here's who talked, that's not a reflection. You need to go to the school board meeting and say, this was a topic that discussed that I was really interested in. This is what I learned. This is how I would have answered if I was the administrator being called on during that particular presentation. This is what I think is important. There's a rubric that they're going to go over with you. It's the same writing rubric that Professor Harris has probably talked about in regards to how you write at a graduate level.
Not yet.
Not yet, but she will. Your reflections will be graded by your coach, not by me. It is a reflection between you and your coach and your professor. You don't have to email it to me. You don't have to do anything with it from me. Your coaches send me an email saying this particular person completed their reflection, number 1, and they had a 3 or 4. When they do the rubric, if you get a 2, they're going to send it back to you and ask you to rewrite it. So always shoot for the 4 and hope that you get a 3. You move on. Those are the 4 major things you're going to accomplish during your field experience. This just talks again about your brief description. You're going to find the form in Blackboard. It'll say year-long brief description. You're going to download it, you're going to fill it out, and then you're going to repost it back into Blackboard. Your year-long activity sheet. You're going to download the template, which will have all the activities listed on the left. It has columns that they'll show you how it's set up. As you go through and complete those activities, you're going to put them in that form and you're going to save them on your computer. And then they're going to go over a list of dates for you, and it's going to say, this is the date when you post your activities that you've accomplished. I think the date is November 21st, I think is when it's due. You're going to download that back to me. I'm going to see that you have it done. I will send you a note saying thank you. I'm glad where you're at. I'm not comparing you that this person has 8 activities done and this person has 10. That's between you and your coach. Your coach is going to kind of monitor how you go along to push you to get it done. Okay? Then you're going to save that on your computer so that you can start adding the other activities underneath that, and then you will post it again for me at a later date. You're going to do that for me 3 times. You're going to post those particular items. Each quarter you're going to post them.
Do you have this posted on your website, on the site Blackboard at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What's it called? Do you know?
EVOD 6801.
No, the actual PowerPoint itself.
This PowerPoint should be on, it should say Dan's PowerPoint or something like that. I posted them on there the other day under items, I think.
Thank you.
Okay. When you're doing your activities, etc., it's important for you to understand the time you spent it there. Think about certain elements. Includes notes that you took, and maybe save some artifacts. You have the opportunity at the end of the year when you're doing your portfolio. Some students like to select certain ones of their reflections and put them into their portfolio. And the ones you put into your portfolio, you're going to want to make sure you have some artifacts to add to that and paperwork that you might have to attach it. It makes the part of the portfolio a lot better. You're going to see, when you sit with your coaches, there is a sample of an elementary leadership project that you can see tonight. There's an example of a secondary. In the Blackboard, I have those same examples for you that you can download. You'll get a hard copy tonight. And then the template is there under the assignment for you to download and work with. Your fieldwork reflections, again, your coach will be going over those. And you want to make sure that you have one reflection you do in the fall, you have 2 you do in the winter, and you have 2 you do in the spring. We kind of give you a break in the fall because you're just getting yourself going, but once it starts rolling, you got to get them all done. You should focus on an area you have less knowledge about. That's the one you're learning something about. You've gone out to some activity and you knew nothing about it, and that's the one you kind of write about. You know, a funny thing, like sitting and talking to the administrator about how they assign extra duties that schools have. How do they go about and do that? How do they set up recess? obligations for teachers, those types of things. They'll go over all the elements, and you'll see, Coach, Form G, you'll get Form G tonight. It's a suggested timeline. It has the due dates for all the assignments. It has when your final exams are, and it has when they quarter in. So just kind of hand that out to you, help you get yourself planning and going through. Okay? Any questions beyond that? Just kind of a quick overview.
Forms,
Yes.
so which one first?
Well, what I was hoping, I emailed you the list of the assignments for the coaches. Pull that up so they'll know who to go sit with. I thought I had a hard copy, and I looked. See.
Simple.